Welcome back, Captains, to another Infinite Galaxy video. This is Dragothian here, and today we're going to be talking about another flagship mastery guide. Let's talk about the Odysseus, especially considering we're trying to find some top-tier combinations for what is really the funnest part of this game right now, and that's Galaxy Summit. We want to be able to pair up some of the best flagships together so that we can have the best effects on the open field and in battle situations when we're taking different positions on the Galaxy Summit map. This obviously will also apply inside your own Nebula if you're fighting other alliances inside of your own server. But this is really, to me, the focus of the game. It's PvP surrounding the Galaxy Summit event and the upcoming Nebula versus Nebula events. Let's go and break down the Odysseus. I want to break down each skill for you. We'll go over the Ascendancy skill too, just to make sure you understand what you're getting, because it's a pretty good one. We'll also talk about some outfitting slots and what you should be doing with those. And then finally, we'll just recommend some good pairings based off of what we would like to use the Odysseus with and go from there. So first off, we're going to talk about the skills themselves. The first skill is a laser-based skill. However, it doesn't really matter in the sense that the actual buff you receive is a total warship attack. This is true for all flagships in the game as of today. We had a patch where they nullified the actual damage type to be universal across all warships instead of it being a single type of damage. So that's good. The Odysseus can be used then at this point with any other type of flagship. There are some best pairs though that we will go over towards the end of the video. Now, we're looking at the first skill. This is a 15% total warship attack bonus. This is a level 3 skill here. I believe it can go up a little higher. I want to say it can go up a little higher, maybe not. Upgrade after the modification reaches level 10, so it definitely can go up higher. I want to say maybe 25 or 30% is the highest. Let's go over to the rank 12 here skill, which is the second skill, a leadership boost. This will increase the number of deployed warships inside of your fleet. The more warships you have inside your fleet, the bigger your fleet is, the more damage it does, the more tanky it is, and ultimately the better chance you have of winning a 1 versus 1 matchup, or if it's big enough, you may be able to actually take on a structure that's manned by another flagship or two or another fleet or two and still end up becoming victorious. The more warships you have inside of your fleet, the better off you're going to be. So that second skill is very important. Now again, remember, on the second flagship inside of a fleet, some of these numbers can be cut because leadership does not have full effect inside of a secondary position on the fleet setup, so something to keep in mind. Third skill here, Fortify Warship Suppression. Now this skill here, it has to do with increasing the restrain effect on warships. Frigate attack bonus against cruisers is increased. So again, each warship counters the next, right? So frigates counter cruisers, cruisers counter destroyers, destroyers counter frigates. So right now the meta for most people is either cruisers or frigates. Cruisers are really heavily used, especially early game, because people need that tanky, high firepower damage ship, which is what a cruiser is really there for. And when you're killing pirates, when you're taking out content that's not war-based, cruisers do a great job of helping you do that and help you hit higher level things than you probably really should based off of your tech level and your level of your flagships, etc. So cruisers are really good for that, and they're really good for PvP too. Do not get me wrong. The problem with that though is that they're very slow. They're very slow. So when we're talking about PvP, a lot of people, including myself, are starting to transition back over to the frigate based model because speed is king in Galaxy Summit for one, and two, there are so many cruisers out there that the direct counter to cruisers are frigates. So having a flagship that, like this one does, Fortify Warship Suppression, increasing that damage even further is really, really nice to have. So in this case, if I was to pair the Odysseus with, say, the Artemis and go full frigates, my frigates would have bonus damage towards the cruisers. So on top of the already restraint effect that you get by frigates countering cruisers, you would have an additional bonus damage on top of that, which will make them even more powerful, even more effective. So need to know which types of warships or which types of flagships would tend to have cruisers on them. Obviously the Brontes comes to mind, the Cyclops comes to mind. There are other ships that are really just kind of generic, like the Odysseus, like the, say, the Poseidon or something like that, where you can really put any type of ship in there and work really well because they're not necessarily in their skills favoring one warship or the other. You need to be able to kind of take a peek at that, and if you have the graphics level high enough where you can see the actual warships they're bringing, if you can see cruisers on the field, that's what you want to attack if you have a frigate-based army. Same thing with the Odysseus pairing up with, say, a Cyclops. If you're going to be going full cruisers with Cyclops and then the Odysseus second, you want to be going after destroyer-based. You want to go after destroyer-based fleets. So, say Hades fleets. The Radamanthus is a destroyer-based fleet. Things like that. You want to be able to know in the game which flagships tend to carry which types of warship. So this is a really good skill, and the faster you can get this leveled up by ranking up the actual ship itself, the better. Fourth skill, I guess technically third skill, I'm not sure how they kind of number these, but emergency repair. Again, another great, absolutely fantastic PvE and specifically PvP type skill. When you're battling, you tend to take a big chunk of severely damaged warships in battle. This will reduce it to needing to just be repaired or being slightly wounded, so that when you go back to your main station in Galaxy Summit, or if you go back to your spaceport in your regular map, you don't have to heal those. That's less cost for you. And then again, in Galaxy Summit, that's more ships that you can bring back to the field without having to use any healing or repair speed ups to get those ships back. So very nice to have there too. Again, the ratio of battle losses converted to severely wounded or severely damaged warships in battle, and directly repair damaged warships after battle coefficient. So that's the slightly wounded or slightly damaged coefficient. So very, very nice. I like that a lot. Last skill here, Heat of Battle, increases attack and defense when the total HP of deployed fleet is less than 70%, which does happen a little quicker than you probably think. Unfortunately, that's the case, but at least with the Odysseus, you're not really taking that much of a damage hit. Attack is huge in this game, and you get a 36% attack bonus and a 36% armor bonus to all of your warships with this last skill at the current level, up to over 100%. That's huge. Usually when you're looking at the ratio of attack to shield, armor, and HP, attack is very, very small, the bonus that you get, compared to an armor, an HP, or a shield. Usually it's almost 3, 4, 5 to 1 of the bonuses that you get, where attack will give you 5%, whereas armor and shield and HP may give you 20 to 30% with the same level of bonus. So the fact that both of these are the same is actually pretty substantial, and should definitely be used on the battlefield. The higher you get this one, the better off you're going to be. Finally, the Ascendant skill here, Succubus Party. This skill increases damage by 245% according to the deployed fleet power. It also has a side effect here, an added effect: hit recover some of your fleet's shield. That's really cool because you have damage bonuses to shield out there with other types of warships. This will help you do that. 10% up to 20% whenever you get the Odysseus to rank 12, which is really, really high, but at least you can get it to rank 1. You can get to rank 1 at rank 9 on the Succubus Party deal here, and this is a good skill. The damage is outstanding, and it provides a little more tankiness back to you. And when we're talking about pairings, right? So with all those skills kind of coming into play, some pairings that you may want to think about. Again, if you want super tanky with a little bit of slow, and just kind of heavy hitting, but not necessarily needing a whole lot of mobility, the Cyclops pairing is a great pairing. Just go full cruisers. You'll have extra damage against those destroyers, things like that. Very, very solid pairing. The Artemis definitely comes to mind. This will allow you to be very speedy across the map, with frigates being used in this army. And again, any of those cruiser-based fleets out there that you want to go ahead and take out, you can certainly use the Artemis with the Odysseus behind it to cause some devastating damage. Your fleet will be bigger. You'll be doing more damage. You'll have more damage against cruisers in this situation because you have frigate-based armies with bonus damages and bonus defenses for the frigates themselves from the Artemis. Very, very strong. And again, if you want to go a little more on the destroyer side, which is not a bad idea, there's a lot of frigates out there now because, again, people are switching to frigates from cruisers and vice versa. You may want to go ahead and go with the Hades, or even the Radamanthus as well is a great one to go with. Again, both of these are going to give you the destroyer bonuses that you would want to have as a main level flagship. Pairing it up with the Odysseus, all those benefits we just went over when it comes to the leadership capability, to the attack and defense bonuses on the warships, at 70% or less health. The repairing helps, and also the restraint effect is very, very nice. And again, the Ascendancy skill is very, very strong. So if you have a fleet with 2 legendary ships on it, you're going to be doing double the damage effectively with that Ascendancy skill, because you're going to have your primary and your secondary firing those things off. It's incredible having 2 going off instead of just 1 very, very strong and can help you turn a tide of a battle that may be really close and both armies have just flagships left. Well, if more of your flagships have the Ascendant skill, you may very well actually end up winning when you might have lost otherwise. So good thing to think about there. And again, we talked about this on a previous video when it comes to the outfitting slots here. You want to match the outfitting slots with whatever warship you put in the fleet. So again, if you're pairing this with the Odysseus with the Artemis, for instance, if you do tier 9 frigates, those are missile based. If you do tier 10 or tier 8 frigates, you're looking at kinetic based. So you want to outfit this slot with a kinetic or a missile based system based on the warship that you're going to use. Again, same thing with the Cyclops. If you go Cyclops Odysseus and you're going tier 9 cruisers, which are kinetic based, you want to use kinetic based outfitting slots. I also like to additionally, if you look at for the defensive slots here, the outfitting for the defensive slots, the shield, HP, armor, etc., I like to pair them up with stuff that you've already got here. So in this case, we have defense, which is armor here. We also have bonuses to the damage there. That's not going to help that, but let's see. On the main flagship that you pair with, again, there could be HP, there could be shield bonuses. You want to augment that, in my opinion, with more outfitting slots that are going to dedicate to those particular stats. So again, in this case, for this particular one, going heavy on armor to me makes a lot of sense because you're already making a strong piece even stronger with more outfitting slots going towards those items. So I really like the Odysseus in this case. This is going to be one of our primary secondary. This is going to be one of our best secondary, I guess I should say, to make it easier for you to understand, our best secondary flagships in this game to pair up with our main flagships, again, being the Cyclops, the Artemis, the Hades, things like that. You want to have as many high-level legendary ships as possible because those have the ascendancy skills at level 9, which you want to have for sure. But that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope you've had a good breakdown of the Odysseus here. I've got this one fairly highly leveled up. I do want to level the actual level of it up because that will increase the power significantly, the leadership boost significantly, and ultimately increase the total damage output of this ship significantly. So I want to get the levels up as well before I start to really bring this bad boy out onto the battlefield in Galaxy Summit. We've got some really big Galaxy Summit matches coming up shortly too. Look out for future mastery guides for these flagships in the coming days. I'm going to do the Odysseus, I'm going to do the Poseidon, and then maybe another one this coming week. I may actually do one of the crew member spotlights that I wanted to do as well this week to get you guys up and ready to roll for Galaxy Summit, get you the latest and greatest information so you know exactly what you should be doing on the field, in space, killing other people in space, and having a good time. Speaking of having a good time, I had a blast. I hope you did too. Take care, have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.